Hey everybody, it's Mike.
And Katie.
And this week it's episode 89, which means...
Batman.
That's right, it's Batman. Unfortunately, it's not Tim Burton's Batman, but it is going to be Christopher Nolan's Batman on this episode of Cup of Rad. Hope you're all doing great and fantastic out there in listener world. We're having summer days, which is pretty nice.
Yes. Finally got to go to my beach. I'm super excited. So
after the Lord of the Rings, we decided to take on something a little lighter.
Well, yeah, Kiddo had a little lighter, sure. Kiddo had been asking about Christopher Nolan's Batman. He's like, well, I've watched all these other Batman. Why can't I watch this one? And we knew it was darker and
more serious.
Grittier and serious. So we wanted to wait till he was a little bit older, but we figured why not try it now?
Well, I started looking up some of the stuff about it, and begins actually. Christopher Nolan has said in a prior interview that this was his James Bond. This was his way of creating a movie that a 10-year-old version of himself would have loved to have seen or snuck to see. Right? So there's no gratuitous violence. There's no blood, gut.
There's no swearing.
There's no swearing. There's no sex.
Yeah, it's actually really kind of a breath of fresh air, actually, to have something like that.
So pure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Batman Begins.
We're going to dig right into it, man.
Right? We're just going to jump in head first. Nosedive off the building with our cape and cowl on. Show dramatic music. And what do we get? We get, Bruce being a bit of a dick. He goes ahead and he's like stealing this arrowhead from his playdate friend. And you're like, wow, you're a mean kid. And then he falls through a poorly constructed well covering on a rich person's property, his own family's, which you would think they would have the best security ever. But,
right.
But apparently these rotten boards just sent him careening down and he falls and his dad saves him. And showing you the good nature of Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
Right. And you get that good iconic line of, why do we fall? So
we can learn to pick ourselves up again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the idea of, like I say, why do we fail? Mm-hmm. So we can learn, right?
Exactly.
It's so we can,
So is that idea. Yeah. He always said his dad was always that shining knight to him, right?
Yeah.
He saved him from something horrible. So
which is really cool, that they painted that out where you're just a good being, right?
Let's not forget about all the bats.
Right.
Though.
There was bats there.
This little minor thing.
So the bats are swirling the kid, and he's all like, bats, I'm a wuss. I'm scared.
Excuse me, I would freak out.
I guess now in our world, bats are even more scary.
Yeah.
When does that story come out in the comics,
Yeah.
Is that what Tom Taylor's doing with his deceased line, where like the zombified Batman and all that, like, foaming at the mouth? So he goes ahead and they got to go to a show, and so this is where it deviates from like comic culture. They're going to an opera, the Waynes, versus say going to go see a movie. In the past, it's been a Zorro movie or Grey Ghost, a fictional character, pulp fiction hero, right? So instead, now we're going to the opera, and there's bats in the opera, and Bruce is all like, "Damn, there's bats!" and he freaks out. And his dad, being a good dad, instead of saying, "Shut your dirty little mouth, we're in this," he says, "You know what? We gotta leave. I'm not digging this." So they leave.
Worst decision Thomas Wayne ever made.
Right. The time he's still being a good dad was the dumbest thing he could have done. Because then they for some reason don't go out the front. They're like, well, we're the Waynes. We can't be seen leading this, even though we brought a child to an opera in the middle of the night.
No big deal.
So they go out the back door and lo and behold, seedy downtown alley, poppity pop, 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 and pearls fall.
Wow. Yeah, why did Bruce not just stay home? Like, why would he have gone to this really intense opera? I can't imagine.
Right? So that
doesn't even make any sense.
That's one of the things that is kind of weird about the movie, that they decided to do that instead of like being actually a movie that they were taking to.
Yeah, which makes more sense.
Because otherwise it should just be like, yo, Al,
I can't imagine taking care of
you're in the will when we die, so to take care of them.
Yeah.
But you can't take care of them while we go to the opera. No. Maybe they're just trying to give them some culture. Maybe
I understand. I mean, it's a whole different world with them, right?
Yeah, we're not rich and fancy. We don't know what this
We don't know the
means.
protocol for that?
Yeah, we don't know the protocols. We
Okay.
don't, we don't have a paparazzi following us around.
True. Okay.
So the Waynes have died, and we're sad because it's his family is gone.
Bruce gets a first interaction with Gordon.
Yeah, and one thing I thought was interesting, I was reading a thing that Gordon was actually the actor.
The actor who played Gordon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oldman.
Yeah.
He was up for the role of Ra's al Ghul.
That would have been weird.
But what Nolan decided, he decided to go a different way. And then he said, I want you to read for Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think Nolan has like this like weird, cheeky little sense of humor in him, because he said that I wanted him to play a good guy because he always plays the bad guy. Right? Because even in Harry Potter, he's still kind of a bad guy until he becomes a good guy.
Yeah.
But he still stays a bad guy.
Because he can kind of play a little bit of a...
Well, Fifth Element.
Yeah. He's kind of...
He always snarky. Plays the bad guy. Right?
Yeah.
So his thing was to give Gary Oldman the chance to play more of a good guy.
Yeah.
And follow in that father figure role that he was. So, because he thought it would be funny to see. So then his choice to play Ra's al Ghul usually always plays the bad guy, a good guy. Liam
he's
Neeson,
always saving things.
And now he's playing the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? So
gotcha. Okay.
So that was it. So
nice.
he's being very like, look at me.
Yeah, and I can't imagine them swap roles or anything like that. Like, I can't imagine Oldman. But I mean, of course, he's a good character actor, though, so he probably would have done amazing.
Yeah, right?
That's still how it's written.
He would have just, went into it.
But still.
So you get Gordon comforting Bruce, and then we time jump.
Yeah.
We jump ahead.
And now Bruce is
all like, got my 9.
Yeah.
Go do some shooting. Joe Chill needs to die. And we get introduction to old, like a current Rachel.
Yeah.
Past current Rachel.
Older Rachel. Same age as Bruce now.
Yeah.
Rachel still.
There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. And she's all like, don't do it. And he's like, no, and then they're like, poppity pop, pop, pop. And then Bruce is like,
I love the sound effects.
I didn't
do it. Not mine.
Not my pew pews. And you find out Joe Chill died. And that was one of the things that I originally watching all that, but then the more and more I read, I realized that Batman has in some books, Joe Chill was brought to justice. In some books he died. In some books he didn't know. It depends on what continuity you're reading.
Oh, okay.
Depends on, and then there's the one that I grew up with, was that he didn't know who killed his parents.
Yeah, I kind of like that one better.
And that's why he was always searching.
It kind of brings out the detective aspect more of him, the more importance of solving those crimes, because his was never solved, the idea, right?
But then you got to think, like, he's able to solve all this crazy shit, but yet he can't solve a single mugging. What kind of detective is he?
Well, because he wasn't there to actually gather the evidence.
Oh.
Yeah. It was just shoddy cops at the time, apparently.
But yeah, so he decides at that moment that he's like, you know what? Gotham is not the place for me. I am done.
Yeah.
And he gives a hobo his coat.
And he disappears.
Into the night. Like a bat.
There was hand effects with that.
You should have. It was like from Take Back to Batman Returns, the Penguin.
Yep.
Shadow puppets on the wall.
Yes, totally. So then he disappears.
Yeah.
And
then he's in a prison. And you're like, what? Why is Bruce Wayne in a prison? He's getting his butt kicked, and they're all like, he's like,
I love this. They put him in quarantine. And then he's like, what are you talking about? I don't need protection. No, the protection is for all the other prisoners. Like, that is fabulous.
Right.
Because right there, it shows then the level of training that he's already gone through. Accumulated, right?
Yeah.
Is that he is already a dangerous weapon.
Yeah.
In that aspect, right?
Yeah. So then he gets a visit from Descartes. Mm-hmm. And he's all, and Liam Neeson shows up, and he's all like, I have a particular skill set that I need to show you. And you're like, wait, that was taken. Come to my mountain and I'll show it to you if you can make it, and bring a flower, because I'm fancy like that. Bruce is like, damn right, I'm going to find that flower. And you're like,
I'm fancy too.
Right? We're high society. We fight with pinkies up. So Bruce takes off, and he gets out of prison and they kick him out of his thing and he's like,
wouldn't that be great to be, I'm free of prison and I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Right?
Kicked out of the back of a truck.
Giant ice.
Fantastic.
All that. And, one thing I got to give the movie, it's beautifully shot, especially in those scenes too. It's very pretty to look at. When you're in Gotham, it's just gray and yellow and orangey.
It's gross, yeah.
So then he goes out and he finds his flower.
Yeah.
He's like, ooh, it's blue. Check this out. And he goes and he finds it. And the card's like, wow, you made it. That's awesome. Guess what? I'm going to kick you in the face. And he kicks him and he kicks him again. And Bruce is like, whoa, I need to rest. And he's all, dude, you can't rest. Because danger.
Death
something.
Doesn't rest.
Yeah. And he starts kicking him.
Doesn't care if you're tired.
Yeah. So
he's all full of wisdom.
Yeah. It's like, Qui-Gon again.
It was totally Qui-Gon.
But evil Qui-Gon.
It was super intense, how Qui-Gon should have been.
Or could have been. Or
maybe he was, and we just don't know that. Maybe he was like that.
Maybe that's why Obi-Wan rebelled, because he got tired of getting kicked in the gut.
Maybe that's why he also did not, maybe he was a little too lax on Anakin.
Qui-Gon's all just in there, just giving him a beat down each day, and so Obi-Wan's like, I'm gonna train you.
You're like, you can do whatever the hell you want.
That's right. We got Pop Rocks and soda, Anakin.
There we go. We solved the problem right there.
Pop Rocks and soda.
Somehow Star Wars came into this. Because
all for those hashtags.
Yep. Hashtag Anakin Skywalker.
Right? No, that might not get us the right ones.
Oh, you're right. Star Wars it is.
Obi-Wan, hello there.
I know you missed that.
All right. Hello there. So what happens then is Bruce becomes a ninja and they find out that he's fighting things and he gets to sniff the flower. His power.
And then he... Tripping balls.
Giant bats.
We forgot, by the way, he was also introduced to Ra's al Ghul.
Yes.
It's to go. Ra's al Ghul standing in the background.
Not
doing anything at all, but just standing there.
Crazy mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. So then he has this awesome little tripping out ninja fight thing.
Yeah.
That one, I love that. It's really cool because then Descartes, is it?
Yeah.
He goes, he blends in and they all become one and and it was all a matter of just trying to find him, right? So I love what Bruce does. Mm-hmm. Slicing the guy's neck to make it look like it was him. His arm, sorry, to make it look like it was him. Yeah. And then tricking him, that deception, theatricality and deception.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was just really awesome. It was such a simple thing, and it, allowed him to overcome, right?
Right. So then you get to the point where he's like, woot, you're part of the League of Shadows now. What up? Party time. Guess what?
Pop Rocks and Coke.
Right? No. This is the dark timeline. This is the darkest timeline version of Qui-Gon.
The darkest timeline of Qui-Gon.
And he's all like... Yo, if you've been in Star Wars
instead of Jedi,
you would have got Pop Rocks and Coke. In this timeline, there's this dude in a cage. I want you to kill him. That's how you graduate.
That's some Jedi justice right there.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's just like, what? No, I'm not doing that. Yeah. And he's all like, well, then you can't be. You must die. And then Bruce is like, okay, fine. I'll kill him. Give me the sword. And magically, he flicks the sword and it lands in a hot Dewey. A little barbecue thing that Ra's al Ghul was having over there. He was like, yo, that's my hot pot, yo. And then he flips that and it explodes and there's explosions.
And then there's just happen to be all the fireworks blow up.
Because there's always fireworks. That seems a little racist.
I know, right? It's awful, but it's so true. That's what they do.
Anytime there's an explosion in anything Asian, there's always fireworks. Doesn't matter what era movie we're in, there's fireworks.
Yep.
So
everything's burning.
Everything's burning, things are on fire, and then Bruce sees that the guy that he actually likes. So we missed that really cool scene where they're on the ice and where they're fighting on the ice and you forsake your killing blow for your footing.
Well, yeah, you forsake sure footing for a killing strike, and then he drops into the water. Yeah, that whole kiddo thought that was quite amusing too. It's like, oh, crap, that sucks.
Right. So then, anyway, so Descartes sliding down the hill, and Bruce is like, damn! And he goes chasing after him, and he jumps after him, and you get to find out why Batman in this universe has the scalped...
Oh,
right?
yeah. Like why he's the Shredder?
Yeah. He uses little claw things and he saves them.
I mean, that's a really excellent addition, actually.
Well, it's also for blocking, right?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I saw those and I'm like, oh, he's got Shredder bands. Gotcha. Shredder bands.
So then, we jump.
Now he decides he's going to go back to Gotham.
Yeah, he pieces out. He calls up Alfred and is like, Alfred, what up? I'm alive, yo. And Alfred's like, shit. Everyone get out. The party's over. Clean this place up. Iron my suits.
Yep.
And now I get to become Stuffy Michael Caine again.
I have to actually be a butler again. Yeah. I was free.
I got so much reading done because I declared you dead. And now I'm here. Like, living the life.
Right? Yeah, that would be difficult to have to back and forth like that. And,
gone for 8 years.
Having to reclaim everything, right? So
I'm pretty sure Alfred just like lived it up.
Oh yeah.
Gardening, just peacefully.
Well, he didn't. He said, we find out later on that he went on vacations all the time to Europe.
Yeah.
Just waiting to find Bruce.
Right.
But, how many times does he get to go on vacation now that Bruce is back?
Right. He's like, damn it. Come on, Bruce.
Right.
I was so close to having all that money. So then Bruce comes back and he's all like, guess what? I'm going to save Gotham. And Alfred's like, sweet, that's awesome. Let's get you over to Wayne Enterprises and this will be awesome. He's like, no, I must become something darker. I must become a symbol. I must become something like a bat, but not a Batman because it's never really said in the movie except for the title.
Alfred's like, really? You came back for this?
Yep. I need pajamas. And I need ninja stars. And I need a tank. That's what happened.
Yeah, totally.
So he goes back and he finds Lucius Fox, Morgan Freeman, and he's all like, what up? And he's all like, okay, what's up? I get it. You're the founder and and you're on the building. So, okay, just
Whatever.
Don't fire me, I guess. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, we got this, we got that. And that's when you get to start seeing all the gadgets and you get to see all these things that in this universe, how Batman got his stuff and how he built a suit. And that was something that was kind of cool because we never really ever saw any others where he got it. It just mystically happened. As Kiddo said, he liked the fact that this was more real.
Yeah.
It's not just his parents died. He found some bats and poof, I'm Batman.
Yeah, that was his words.
I don't know. I kind of like that version. Especially the poof, he's Batman. I can just imagine seeing some smoke.
Yeah.
And he jumps through. I'm Batman.
Fireworks, maybe.
That's that'd be the fastest way to make that movie.
Yeah.
Parents walking along, they die, bats swarm around, and all of a sudden, I'm Batman.
Yeah, he'd be twirling vortex at bats that he flies out.
Sailor Moon Batman.
Yeah. Sweet. Transformation. Oh, Batman transformation.
Dealing death blow of sadness, transformation into a bat.
Oh, that's fabulous. Someone needs to animate that.
If you got the talent, please do, because I'd love to see that.
Yep.
Total Sailor Moon Batman transformation.
Yeah.
And please have him wear black nail polish under the gloves, because that'd just be hilarious. Can you just see that scene though?
Totally.
And then he's down there, he's painting his nails, and Alfred's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm dark, I'm moody." He's like, "But you gotta take that off after." "I know, but I'm dark and moody. Transformation."
He doesn't know how.
Where's my eyeliner? By the way, I love Batman.
I know, which is what's even more fun is he's your absolute favorite character, and that's what's so great is that you can still mock it too.
I'm Batman. Well, there's been so many of them. There's been more Batman than I have fingers, I think. Yeah. Right? It's just...
There's so many different variations, right?
Right. So. I think everyone and anyone's played them. And now with DC's whole, we have a multiverse. it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, with the fact that they'll have Pattinson, and then Keaton's coming back, and there's even talk that if Keaton thing falls through, then you've got Bale might come back, or Bale might just come back because he misses the role.
Good gracious.
Then there's talk that Affleck's still in talks to possibly do something to continue on.
So they're just going to see how many people we can put in a bat suit and see which one likes.
Sells.
Yeah.
And if they all sell, we're getting them all, which isn't the worst thing for a Bat fan.
No.
But I just hope it accumulates into the Batverse, because that's what it feels like.
I don't want to just keep seeing the same story told over again with different Batman, though.
No. Well, we'll see other things.
Right?
We'll see other things. I know. Bale was always sad that he never got to continue.
Yeah.
So
anyways, back to him building his suit.
Yeah,
so they went and dig into the R&D archives of Wayne and all the old stuff that they have sitting around. Like, I can use this.
Yeah, all the splunking.
No one knows about this, so I can use this.
Yeah, all stuff that was R&D that was too expensive for the military.
Yeah.
Then you get the Tumbler. And the Tumbler for me has never been something that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't enjoy it. Kiddo loved it, so he's no longer my son.
He has been disowned officially.
He said that, you know, it made more sense and it was more realistic and it could blend in more than the other Batmobiles. With that, I ejected him from the house.
It blends in. It's a freaking tank.
But it felt more like
But it was an ex-military R&D project, so it definitely made sense.
Yeah, versus because when I said that, I was like, but what about 89? That'd be like sleek, like. He's like, it's so long. How does it even drive? I'm like, I don't care how it drives. That thing's friggin' cool. You shut your dirty mouth.
He does have a point.
No, he does not have a point. Okay. He is a child. He does not get a vote.
Wow.
When it comes to the Batmobile.
Come of rage. Batmobile rage.
If he said it was cooler than, say, the Batman Forever one, I can give him that, or the Batman and Robin one. The Batman and Robin one was a convertible. 89 was like...
I don't know, animated pinnacle. Batman right there.
Yeah, well, that one is, but we've never seen that one in... I like, actually, the Beaver's S one a little bit more than Tumbler.
Yeah.
It's like a cross between the two.
Yeah.
It's got the long front, but it's all still armored.
Yeah.
I can dig that one.
Yeah. It was like they just like, okay, we understand. Fanboys obviously raged about the Tumbler. So
no, but a lot of people like the Tumbler.
I know.
And no offense to those who do. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, well, it's so different.
Because it doesn't have
any sort of iconic...
It has no bat style.
Yeah.
Where is the glowing bat emblem on it? Where does it make... Like, yeah, it's a tank. Okay. Honestly,
so his style really was... really expensive soldier. That was his style. Yeah. So that's all it was. And all it cared about was if it came in black.
Yeah, and there's your cheeky lines.
Yeah, does it come in black?
And those are all lines that were written in there, of course, to then be more for the kid idea, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, and I could see that a lot more in this rewatch, and seeing how it just had those little.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and you're like, that's actually a really corny line, but no one noticed.
Yeah.
Right. So then we get introduction to the mob. Mm-hmm. The mob's all like, we're taking Gotham, and you find out that one of the doctors at Arkham is working to do something.
Yeah, there's a lot of drugs going on, and
so many drugs.
Yeah, we got all sorts of corrupt cops and corrupt judges and all sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
Which of course led back from Chill even too, and because that was from that very beginning there. So it's always the mob, always the problem.
Right. So we get his first night out as Bat. We'll just jump ahead a bit.
Oh, totally.
His first night out as a Bat, he goes after a bunch of Falcone's men.
Yeah, there's a drug shipment coming in, right? And so he's trying to figure that out. So then, yeah, you get to see his first, like...
And that's a cool scene.
Scare everyone. Oh, yeah.
That is a cool scene because it has elements of horror. Mm-hmm. Where just people start going missing. It's like the
Kiddo really liked that. Yeah. I thought that was really impressive, right?
It's like the Cthulhu beast that just comes in and like starts grabbing people.
Yeah,
and there's like really no one left, right?
Yeah, you're like, what's happening? Right?
Each of them goes down. If you rewatch that scene, you also notice though that the way that it's filmed, you actually don't ever actually see Batman hit someone. He blocks and people fall down. And so they say that it was like a way of filming for like flash fighting, they called it, to show you hear the hits, but you never see them.
Oh, okay.
So it's more of like to show that he's moving that quick compared to everyone else. And you hear the hits and then they just go down.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was kind of an interesting way of doing it.
So it was a way to pretend that he was moving faster, basically.
Yeah, and then show his skill against people that were just hired thugs.
More of that ninja aspect. It's a little bit more scary if you don't actually see the hits, you just see them dropping down, right? So I guess that makes sense.
To create more of the monster feel with him.
Yeah. Right? Okay.
So then with that, then that's when we finally get to hear him say, I'm Batman, right? And his growl of a voice. Now, if you notice though that his growl in Begins is not nearly as raspy as it is in the other movies. So I thought that was interesting, especially because it was so watching them all so close together.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
You know what's funny is I don't remember them changing at all myself, but I think because it always has bothered me with how raspy and growly he has, but I'm just so used to it now that I think I don't even notice it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, that's what he sounds like.
Well, you go from the other ones that didn't change their voice. They're just like, I'm Batman. Hey.
Well, yeah, and so it makes sense that he changed his voice, which is great.
And that's one thing that they did do that I thought was kind of cool. And some people I know they didn't like it, but with B vs. S and all that Batman actually had a reverberator on him. Mm-hmm. And so he sounded different.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool idea.
Yeah, because that makes more sense, right?
Yeah, right.
So, but
the iconic is, of course, the fact that, they're able to have the same actor do in voice acting at least.
Well, I was
Conroy was able to sound amazing. Different.
Yeah, because he sounds so much more light and airy as Bruce Wayne, and with Batman, he doesn't sound like he's stressing his voice. He's just deeper and
he's just able to go down that little bit.
Yeah, and it's the way he talks, the pronunciation, and the forceful and the directfulness, and then with Bruce,
get to the Batmobile.
So
that's something you look at and you're like, well, you could also go that route with it.
I think that's why I've always I saw it that way, and then so when that happened with Nolan, I'm like, wow, why are you growling?
So there was actually sometimes where they had to go off and film other scenes because he had wrecked his voice so much.
Yeah,
as he's sitting there just having to always just doing that, you can feel like
oh yeah.
And you wonder though if he was trained more in voice acting though, if he'd be able to handle that more versus.
You would think, because anyone who's with voice acting can change, is so much more malleable with it, right? And they can figure out how to make those sounds and everything.
Yeah,
right. So Conroy can do it.
So
because he's actually Batman.
Secretly Batman.
He's the real Batman. And we're back to Scary Monster in the Night.
So bang bang zoom, punch punch punch, biff pow.
There's this terrifying monster on the streets.
And all of a sudden up in the sky, there's a silhouette of what looks like the bat signal, but it isn't, but it is.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Right?
Let's use the mob boss to make the bat symbol.
I thought that was really cool. Kind of nod.
He's sitting there cutting stuff. Oh, that doesn't look right. Okay, we'll just tear your coat a little bit more like here. And we're going to make sure it stays there. Oh, yeah, there's a bat. Okay.
Just put this headband on.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
But yeah, so then you find out that there's drugs in the shipment and he's got to go find them. And it's a scarecrow.
Yeah.
And
they're dumping drugs into the water supply line.
Yep.
He's working for someone. We don't know who, because he always, when he would threaten, he was like, "Oh, you're working for the big guy here," and so you don't know who he's working for, and there's no talk about that at all. But it's obviously not the mob. But they're putting some sort of weird drugs in the water supply.
And they're trying to figure out what it is. And so,
Oh, and then he also is in the way he's, of course, then creating this drug that is like the mob boss goes to jail, and then he goes in there to try to take for a psyche eval, and he makes him crazy by being Scarecrow and drugging him and makes him just go out of his mind, right?
Yeah.
So.
And then also, too, he has his night out, and he gets attacked by Scarecrow and gets burnt, and... he's like, that's not cool, and has to leap off a building. And then there's also, prior to that, the little kid from Game of Thrones was there, and he's all like, give me something or I'm going to go destroy a world. And he's like, what? No, here, take this. you know, it happened. Backfired. Batman was nice to the kid, and he still went off and hurt people. It's really sad. He became a king. Memories, man. So then he goes ahead and, you know, one thing that is interesting is how much, like, in the movies, almost all of them too, though, in, like, the cartoons or the comics, Batman pretty much does his thing, and he's Batman. In the movies and stuff, it's amazing to see how much more he needs all his secondary characters. So, like, he gets gassed, and then he gets, you know, burnt and all this, and Alfred has to pick him up, and then he's like, takes him home, and he's got to call Lucius, and Lucius has to save the day.
Yeah.
You know, like, in reality, when you look at that series, Lucius really did save the day more than... He saves the day almost in every movie.
Yeah. Batman really doesn't... Well, that's the part of the problem with this series is his lack of detective aspect.
Yeah.
It shows him being able to create, manipulate machines and do those types of stuff, you know, with them making the suit work and designing different adaptations to things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to solving a problem, immediately creating synthesized antidotes and all that sort of stuff, he still depends on a team of things. Yeah. He's not really doing it himself. And
it's just kind of a weird thing, right? Like, yeah. You sit back but I guess you got to remember that they told you right before you walked in, this is how Batman begins. So yeah. Which, it would make sense right now. Right? Where it's like, okay, well, maybe next time I'll figure out how to try to do this. I have to add this to my repertoire because my Rolodex.
Fox isn't always going to be here, right? So, yeah.
So then skip ahead to where you're talking to, though. They're poisoning the water. Mm-hmm. And where are we? Oh, before that, though, Bruce is having his birthday party. Mm-hmm. Right, and it's his 30th birthday party. Mm-hmm. And then that's when Ra's al Ghul shows up, and he's like, "But I watched him die." And then Liam Neeson shows up and goes, "No, you didn't. I'm too cool for that." And then he burns down Bruce's place, and he tells him the whole long story about how they've been around for generations. And
then he finds out, of course, that Liam Neeson is actually Ra's al Ghul.
Yep.
Shouldn't have saved me.
That was just a decoy.
And he tells him his whole because he knows about his big plan then about that. Yep. The Gotham has to be destroyed, and we, tried to
monologuing.
Yes, he begins monologuing, and the idea that, with Gotham we tried economics. So we tried a long-term plan of trying to destroy the city in itself, and now it hasn't really been working because the Waynes fought back. So now we're here to finish the job by blowing it up, basically, and making everyone against each other, right? So yeah. So then Bruce he burns down.
Gets the mansions burnt down, and he gets a beam landed on him. And I love the line from Alfred when he's all like, what are good at any of these push-ups if you can't lift a beam? Oh, yeah. It was just hilarious. It was like Alfred also in the series... He's like, Alfred in one character is pretty much the angel and the devil on his shoulder. Like, it's a weird thing because sometimes he'll egg him on to do things and then he'll egg him on to do other things. Like, he doesn't really pick his side.
He's just it's like a little psyche that just the other conscience of some
maybe
sort.
Alfred isn't even there.
Oh, maybe later in life, maybe he never came back from Europe and decided to just run away and he just pretended, No, so now Batman is full on officially crazy. He's had some psychotic break. Yep. And is imagining Alfred is there.
Yep. Now watch the movie and imagine that Alfred is just all in Bruce's mind. Because you don't really ever see him interact with anyone else except for Rachel, really.
It's a full beautiful mind moment here. Yeah. Nice.
So.
Anyway, so the League of Shadows is in Gotham.
And
and that giant micro ionizer machine had gotten missing from Wayne Tech. So what can it do? It can turn mist and vaporize water. Turn water into mist, so vaporizes water.
Yeah, and Lucius is like, we somehow misplaced that, and Bruce is like, what? Yeah. So with that,
let's just jump right to it.
It's the big final battle. Yeah. Everything's shutting down.
Because their whole plan with Scarecrow then is now he has synthesized his scared drug, basically, is made from these blue flowers. Yeah. So they have made this very intense cocktail and they've put that in the water supply, and that was the drugs that were going in there. And they are going to, everything is just ingrained in the water supply in Gotham. They're going to vaporize everything and
Have Gotham tear
itself apart in fear, which is a really terrifying biological weapon.
Yeah.
In reality, so
you see everyone starting to trip balls, and
because it starts out, and we got the inmates that are free then.
Yeah, they free all the inmates.
Free all the inmates, and from Arkham, right?
Yeah, and Blackgate.
And yes, and now it's just a race to get.
So the thing's on
Roz
the subway.
is trying to take the subway to the main water supply, like the power hub, basically. Yeah. And have it blow there.
It'll blow everything up, and nothing will be.
So then, right now, it's just more of the island, the Narrows.
Yeah.
That is gone, has been all drugged out, basically. And we've got scary horse riding around on there, and like all the scarecrows riding around, and it's good stuff.
There's some good. There's some good.
So he's got an antidote that he needs to get.
And he gave it to Gordon.
Inoculated, right? So yeah, Gordon is free, and then that way they can try to mass produce this. So
yeah, and so Gordon. You get Gordon. He hops into the Batmobile and he takes off. Oh, we forgot to talk about the whole like chase on the rooftops and all that.
There's a lot going on here. That's why.
But yeah, so
apparently this turning
the Tumblr thing, was it turned whatever.
We got into a whole conversation about the Batmobile.
So anyway, at the end of the day, they save the day, and Bruce is able to then have his battle with Ra's al Ghul on the train as it's heading, and Gordon's blowing it up, the tracks and all that, and Bruce is Ra's is like, oh, I finally pushed you to kill, and he's like, no, I don't have to save you.
Yeah.
Right. And so he jumps out the window and and that's how it pretty much ends. And they talk about rebuilding.
You know what I don't understand is, did I miss this? Or do they ever talk about actually providing the antidote to all the people in the Narrows? Does that ever get like cleaned up, or is it just assumed afterwards?
Fox saved the day. Because Fox was going back to Wayne Enterprises to mass produce the...
So we never saw it actually happen.
No.
We just assumed it did.
No, it's just...
Okay.
It
I wasn't
happened.
sure. Which isn't the end of the world, of course. They didn't show it, but it's like, I was waiting for them to like have this big showering antidote somehow,
No, they don't do anything like that. They just... Fox secretly does it.
It's like, of course he's going to do it. He has no other option than to succeed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then you just jump right ahead with the fact that Bruce then bought out Wayne Enterprises through all the dummy corporations.
That was fabulous. Kiddo thought that was great too, because in the meanwhile they took it all public and they wanted to get rid of Bruce, and it was the idea that he asked, oh, how did the sale go? Oh, it was great. It was a whole bunch of corporations, a lot of interest, a whole lot of things you don't know, and okay, whatever. Well, then you have a board meeting show up, and it shows that he's firing the guy that wanted to take over the company, and Lucius is in charge, and how this happened. Oh, because I bought it all. Yeah. It was a whole bunch of things that you don't understand. Yeah. Like he threw that back in his face, and I thought that was funny. And that little moments like that do show his intelligence, which is great, and the fact that maybe he hadn't grown up in the business world, but he does still have savvy and ways to get around things or find the information. As well, right? But he's not dumb by any means, and people assume otherwise. So I think that was really cool. So
yeah,
I think he did a good job as a Bruce Wayne too.
Oh yeah, I got a better appreciation for the movie.
Yeah.
Then
because I always remembered enjoying the movie, but I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I remembered even watching this time around. I was just like, wow, I'm actually really enjoying this.
Yeah.
And the portrayal of everything. So,
which was really fun. It was really fun to rewatch that and see that and like get more out of it. Like I really think that Begins, and I'll say it right off the bat, is the superior flick of all three of them. Yeah. Because it's the most focused in what story it's trying to tell.
Yeah.
Right.
Very clear with the different characters.
And there's not too many characters, right? And that's the thing. Like, it's very precise in its tale.
Yeah.
So it definitely stands out. I love the Batsuit in Begins over the other ones. I think because it still has a bit of that rubberized look versus the plates.
Yeah.
So I really dig the look of that suit, even though it is all black. And yeah, there's so many great moments in it. Like, it is a very classic film for sure.
Yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised, and Kiddo really enjoyed it.
Yes, he liked this, and he liked it more than any of the Batman movies he's watched. Mm-hmm. He liked the realism that was brought to it,
and he really understood it really well. So that's another thing that helps with how clear it was, and a very concise movie. So
yeah,
it was good.
So that's how Batman begins in the Christopher Nolan world. So that was pretty fantastic. Mm-hmm. One thing too that's kind of cool about rewatching some of the Christopher Nolan movies now is because, well, now with Tenet being indefinitely delayed, so we got to revisit some old stuff. Yeah. So that's what we're doing. So this here is part 1 of the Christopher Nolan run through, and come back next time. Yeah. For The Dark Knight. Because,
we have to continue on, of course.
Well, yeah.
And find what else he has to bring to his world that he's created.
It's just like the Lord of the Rings, is that it's too much to do in one episode without...
it's too much rushed. Of a character, too big of a story, too much to talk about, actually, and it's bigger projects, so... Exactly,
because, that's the thing. You gotta just ramble. But hopefully you're all doing well out there in listener land. Thank you again for listening, as always, and hopefully we'll see you next week in episode 90 for The Dark Knight. Stay rad.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!